So this video I've got two of the biggest irons of 2022 from probably two of the biggest brands in golf, but there's a huge difference between these two irons which might just sway your buying. Okay, so I've got the TaylorMade P790, probably one of the best and probably the most popular TaylorMade irons they have ever brought out. Big sales in this department. And up against the new Callaway Rogue ST Pro iron. Again, hollow body construction, a great looking iron, and does tick a lot of the boxes for many, many golfers with looks and feels. So two hot irons. We're going to put these up against each other, both exactly the same lofts. So it's going to be an interesting test, and two that obviously say the biggest brands in golf. Okay, so we're going to kick things off with the TaylorMade. So P790, as I mentioned, very, very popular irons. We do lots of fittings for these. And as I say, it does really sort of tick many, many boxes like golfers. So it's a great looking iron. It's very clean on the back. We've got that word forged. We've got that forged face on there. It's hollow construction, so it's providing some forgiveness. But in that bit more of that player's maybe appearance down by that golf ball, and it does look good. I've done review videos on this and it's a very good looking iron. So let's get underway. We'll hit some shots with this and then, like I say, we'll move into the Callaway Rogue ST Pro. Okay, not a bad opening shot, maybe a little bit on that toe side. Yeah, there, as you can see, we've got the strike up on the screen there, so we can see maybe my contacts. Clubhead speed around that 90 as we'd expect, and about 180 sort of carry. So 30.5 degrees of loft is the 7-iron in the P790. So it's in that slightly stronger back bracket than maybe a more traditional iron, but it's not going ridiculous like you see in maybe the game improvement iron. So it's providing that sort of speed along with that sort of forgiveness as well as the looks, which I think is where this iron is always a very popular option. Ooh, just a little bit clean on that one, but really good sort of feels, I think, with the P790. I say it's hollow construction, and we've got that speed foam in there, which is now lighter from that previous model. So saving a little bit of weight, redistributing that weight, and obviously we've got a lot of tungsten in the club as well. So that's providing, again, a bit more forgiveness on those miss hits, as well as trying to get that ball speed up. So down by the golf ball, it's that satin finish right the way through, even through the grooves as well. It's a medium top line, and it's a little bit blocky, I would say, is probably the best way to describe that. Quite a squared off top line, quite sharp edges there. It's nothing really sort of rounded. So it does look a little bit blocky, but the leading edge and the way and the shape into the toe, I think, is really nice. Oh, that's a little bit of a toey one again. Touch up the right. So as I mentioned earlier in this video, there's a huge difference between these two irons. We're going to talk about that towards the end of this video. So do stay tuned to know exactly what that big difference, and that might just sway your buying decision. A nice high towering ball flight. And that's the beauty with these sort of clubs. Even though those stronger lofts, you do tend to get that sort of nice high sort of flight on these. Yeah, just a little bit lower spin, and that's sometimes the issue with maybe what I've seen with the 790s. You get some little low spinners in there, just go that little bit further. You see there's another sort of good 10 yards, you know, 8 to 10 yards more on that particular shot. Clubhead speed was up a tiny bit, ball speed wasn't up massively, but just that little bit of that lower spin just squeezes those extra few yards. And that's sometimes an issue on the golf course when you're trying to hit an iron to a certain number. Do you want it to go that extra 10 yards? You don't mind it with a driver, but maybe not with an iron. That's a good ball flight, really high. Very confident that's got some stopping power just really on that descent angle alone. Okay, so moving into the Callaway, the Rogue ST, and it's the Pro. Fantastic looking iron, very sleek, a little bit more of a polished appearance in that chrome around it, which I think just gives it a little bit of class sort of feel, possibly a little bit of that edge over maybe that P790 in terms of that look and that rack appeal. You see that on nice sort of glistening club on the rack, it draws your attention, doesn't it? So very clean on the back. It's got that black badge. Again, tungsten in here, which is obviously helping with, again, that CG location, ball speed, everything like that. First impression down by the golf ball, it's a great looking iron. And for me, I'm just going to pop these two side by side. For me, I think it is a little bit of a better look than the TaylorMade. I do like the TaylorMade. It looks to be a tiny bit more squat in the blade length with the Callaway against the TaylorMade. And I think that top edge, it's still a medium top edge, but there's a little bit of more of a roundness to it. It's not quite as blocky as the TaylorMade, which I sort of prefer a little bit more. So probably the looks just edging it for me for the Callaway. It's a great opening shot, really sort of high flight. Very similar to what we've just seen with that TaylorMade, to be honest, with that ball flight. Maybe a touch higher, possibly. 188 carry, big distance there. Feel-wise there, I think straight away with that first shot there, it probably feels very, very similar to the TaylorMade. Obviously, TaylorMade's hollow, as is the Callaway, but the TaylorMade's got the air foam in there, and we've got a forged face. It has forged written on the hosel with the TaylorMade. It's not a full body forged, it's a forged face only. Callaway isn't forged at all, but it does have those micro spears in the material in that face, so that's maybe helping to create a little bit more of that control of the sound and a little bit more of that softer feel. I think a great look down by the golf ball there. You know, I think with that satin of the grooves against that high chrome polished sections of the toe and the heel really sort of frames the hitting area. I think it just helps a little bit with alignment there, but it does sit super behind the golf ball. Great looking iron. Again, very good ball flight. So availability on both these irons, both available from a 3-iron all the way through to that A wedge, that gap wedge there. So we've got lots of options throughout the whole bag. Obviously you can switch in and out, go for a fitting. You can maybe dropping out those long irons, possibly putting in something that's maybe a little bit more forgiving, maybe that utility iron, possibly even a hybrid in there. Ooh, just a tiny bit low in the face. You get that feedback through the club, but again, looking at the flight, it doesn't look dissimilar there. Good ball speed on that slight low strike, still getting some desired distance, and that's probably the beauty with these sort of clubs, you know, in this hollow construction. We've got that forgiveness there, you've got the nice looks that you're going to see in that package there, so very desirable, but packing with a bit of that speed and a little bit of that forgiveness as well. Yeah, very consistent ball flight on those shots with the Callaways. So at the start of the video, I did say there's a huge difference between these two irons, and it is the price of these. So a 4-iron to pitch wedge, a 7-iron set with steel shafts in the Callaway is going to come in at £849. With a TaylorMade, same number of irons, it's going to come in at £1,099. So there is a considerable difference of price between these two irons. Now, are you paying a little bit more for the TaylorMade because it's got that forged face? Possibly, I don't know, but it's a big difference there. And maybe just look at the performance. We're going to check the numbers out now, but maybe look at the performance. Is there that much of a difference? And that might just sway your buy-in potentially when you go and try these. Okay, so let's have a look at the dispersion rings to start off with. And straight away there, we can see a winner, can't we, with that Callaway. Very tight from that front to back. The strike's obviously a little bit more consistent possibly there. I think the spin, which we're going to look at the numbers in a minute, maybe spin might be a little bit more tight to give us that consistency there. It did look really consistent in the flight of the golf ball. A couple of not perfect strikes there, as you're always going to move your strike around a little bit, but I'm really happy with that front to back dispersion, which I feel is really important with an iron, especially when you're trying to hit a number into a green. Okay, so then looking at the numbers, so we've got TaylorMade on the bottom there against the Callaway obviously on the top. So we can see club head speed absolutely identical. Ball speed, a smidge more with the Callaway. That could be just down to a little bit of a better strike, possibly, but a fraction more ball speed, but not a huge amount in it. Callaway just edging a tiny bit again on that launch, but not a huge amount, and the spin pretty much identical. Touch low with the Callaway against the TaylorMade. So distance-wise, we've just got 4 extra yards, which is nothing really in it. It's a little bit more of a higher flight with the Callaway with that 110 peak height. And a little bit more efficient on that club head speed in relation to that ball speed with the smash at 1.38. Okay, so in that particular test, a little winner for me, and that is going to be the Callaway. Better on the looks, a little bit better on that tighter dispersion. The feel was really, really nice, as it was with the TaylorMade, to be honest, but I think the Callaway just edging it for me. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. There'll be another video popping up there you can go and check out, and hopefully catch you all very soon.